I'm Shae Russell from mining.com.au, and joining me once again is Ivan Fairhall, the Managing Director of Pivotal Metals. Ivan, it's great to have you back on. How are you today?
I'm great, Shae. Thanks for having me on.
Thrilled to have you back on because I believe we are talking about the completion of your recent drill program over at Horden Lake. But before we get to what this means for the project, talk me through some of these key highlights because there's some really impressive results that you've announced to the market yet again.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Shae. Look, these are the final results from the drilling that we did earlier in the year, and again, more good results, the more expanding the story and building on what we've already discovered there. There is already a substantial resource there, and we can see it getting better. So the holes that we drilled, again, like we discussed last time, focused in the northern part of the resource, and we've seen that start to kind of build out across from the central part. These results were a combination of infill and step out. The infill drilling, again, two holes, 118 and 119, both of them having intersections nearly 40 metres wide, both nearly 1% or 1/1% copper equivalent, both with high-grade cores, 12 and 6 metres at over 2% copper equivalent. So really nice parts of the ore body, and it's great to see the continuity of these wide zones fill out in that part of the resource. And this is, again, just to reiterate, it's within the open pit section of the deposit. We've made great strides previously joining the resources in this area, and this is sort of continuing that continuity along strike. So it is feeling like an area that's shaping up to have considerable upside relative to the existing resource. And again, we've seen the precious metals content here. It's boosted the value relative to what we understood before, where none of that information existed. So that's the infill part. We've also, with these holes, stepped out further to the north. So this is about the furthest north drilling that we've done on the resource, and hole 112 was down plunge and a long strike, so deeper outside of the resource envelope, 12 metres at 1.1% copper equivalent within a much wider zone. So we can see the deposit extend down in this area, and the deposit remains open along strike and down plunge beyond this. We've just really stepped out and demonstrated the mineralisation extends further to the north. At hole 124, we've shown the system extends. It's weaker mineralisation there. But what's super important is we show that controlling structure continues to be mineralised. We can see in the regional geophysics that it continues north, and we're looking to target. It's important to see that the mineralisation is continuous, and we've got a plan to sort of continue to explore in that area and see if we can't pick up more grade as the strike continues to the north.
I sort of wouldn't mind just doubling down on the explanation of why this program has been so important. Now, there's been 34 holes drilled in total, over 7,000 metres drilled in total as well. And as you just pointed out before, this has been infill drilling and step-out drilling. So what does this reveal about Horden Lake overall and its potential going forward?
Look, this was our first drill program on the project, and to be honest, it was really hugely successful. Take a step back. It's the first the drill program that we've been able to do on the project, and the first in over a decade. The project was locked up in private ownership and had zero work done on it for 10 years, which is quite astounding in and of itself for a project of this size. And our program delivered really on its key objectives. So if we reflect on what they were, we wanted to do infill drilling for a few reasons. One, we wanted to collect met sample, and we've started that work. I'll come on to it in a second. We wanted to increase the geological confidence, which you get from infill drilling. But probably one of the more important points is infill that missing multi-element assay information, because, reminder, lots of parts of the deposit had only had copper and nickel assays. And we know, and we've seen in the drilling, that there's significant byproducts of gold, silver, platinum, palladium, cobalt that exist over the whole resource area. We just didn't have that data. So we've seen that in the drilling. So that was the infill. Step out drilling, again, we knew the deposit was open. We could see the historic drilling, and we could see there was nothing outside of that area, and the mineralisation was open. But we've been able to, there's nothing like drill holes to actually show that. And in many places across pretty much the extent of the resource, we've hit wide zones of above cut-off grade mineralisation, shows the deposit extends, and we've been able to double down on that with the downhole EM that we did down in those deeper holes that we've drilled. The downhole EM is an electromagnetic survey, and what it does is it says, well, you see mineralisation here, and it sends a current down that can project that mineralisation further beyond. So we've seen we've got evidence there that that mineralisation continues even further, and it's a matter of doing further drilling, and you get quite high confidence that that mineralisation is going to extend. So that's in and around the existing deposit. The geophysics we've done, coincident with the regional geophysics done, coincident with the exploration program itself. It's sort of a part of the story we probably hadn't fully appreciated that is really opening up about the potential for this project to sort of get bigger, along strike, parallel. We've got much more work planned on that. And it's just a much larger story emerging here, and it's really great to have some momentum into the project.
Now, Ivan, you and Pivotal Metals have the good fortune of being able to drill through the winter season in Horden Lake, based in Canada. You've got a lot of work coming up ahead, though, over the next 6 months. Can you sort of summarise some of the key things that you're going to be focusing on?
Sure. Well, we've just raised more capital, so we brought another $3 million into the company, and that's off the back of having really great exploration targets to follow up on, and a project that's really coming together, and actually a portfolio in Canada that's really attractive. So what we're focused on now is taking all this data that we've got in and actually crunching the numbers and seeing what it all really means in terms of real practical upside for shareholders. So the resource geologists are updating the wireframes and recalculating what the resource will be. We're doing that in parallel to the metallurgical test work, so that when we get the updated recoveries and all the certainty that we can get out of that program, we can update the resource and bring that all together and just show what the value of this deposit really is. And of course, we're planning our next program, having results like this to follow up from. We've got more geophysics planned, particularly thinking about that regional stuff. So targeting more effectively so that we can be more surgical with our follow-up drilling. We want to make sure every meter counts, which is an important thing. Capital is scarce, and it's important to target that the best we can. And we'll be looking to follow up those targets with drilling. So there's some momentum there that we can build into the project coming into the new year. We've got interest rates coming off, stimulus coming on, the investment cycle's returning. History showed what a powerful dynamic that is for these commodities, and when you overlay that with we're sitting on an advanced asset, and there's a backdrop of very few discoveries in the space. So we're just really excited about what the future holds, to have the right project and the right time, cash to move it forward. It's an exciting time.
I agree. You're in rude good health. You've got the cash in the books, advanced asset, as you just said, interest rates coming down, which always helps. But also, too, you guys are working really hard to progress this project. There's no resting on your laurels. Listen, Ivan, I cannot wait to see what sort of announcement comes next. Make sure you jump back on and we can talk about it then. Thank you so much for being here.
Thanks, Shae. Great to be on.